Well, Tony, season's finally here. You excited?
Yeah, it's always great to be part of a new season. And although we know it's going to be a difficult game, in very hot conditions by the looks of things, yeah, it's like my first game. You know, you get the same butterflies, you get the same tension, apprehension, everything that rolls into being a manager and managing a football club.
You touched upon the conditions that are expected tomorrow there. Has there been any talk about possibly having drinks breaks? How are the players going to handle them?
Well, in my experience, when we've played games in this condition, I think the referee always takes that into consideration, and we usually go off the back of the referee. You know, whether it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever he decides that, if it's necessary to have a break, So we'll leave it to the ref and see what he decides tomorrow.
We're told this season that there's the potential for referees to award yellow and red cards to managers in the dugouts. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, having never been involved with any controversial decisions on the sidelines, I don't have to worry about that. So, yeah, they're going to do it. It's showtime, and the game has become a show game, and everything to help the television and the public and the media. But I'll try and stay out of trouble if I possibly can.
That's good news.
Thank you.
Looking at the Championship this season, the teams that have come down from the Premier League, teams that have come up from League One, is there a case to be put out there now that the Championship is, if not the most competitive, certainly one of the most competitive leagues in Europe? Yeah,
without a question of a doubt. I think if you sat down tomorrow, you could pick most probably the top 6 teams in the Premiership before a ball is kicked. In which order? You might not get that right, but you can pick the top 6. You couldn't do that in the Championship, and that's what makes it the most competitive league, I would say, in Europe. Anybody can come from anywhere, as Cardiff did last year, to be successful and get promoted.
Obviously, this season the transfer window and timing of it's changed. When that decision was made last season, everyone seemed to be agreed that it was a good decision. Now we're getting close to that window closing. Is it?
Well, we're desperate to do some business. I think we've got to do some business. There's been a lot of players that have moved on. There might be 1 or 2 that we might lose in the next couple of days as well. So we're desperate to get business done, but we want to do business, good business, in the right manner, and especially financially for this football club, which is important. But you're never going to change it. As I've said before, and I'm on record, I'd prefer the old system. I think the old system that runs until, first or last week in March, is much better than what we've got now. But maybe I'm too traditional sometimes.
On that note, Ben Gibson was widely speculated that Burnley have been in touch with you with a big money deal potentially for him. What's been Middlesbrough's reaction to that?
Well, the powers to be will talk about that. As I've said before, I think Ben's been a very, very good player for this football club. If he has the opportunity and the chance to go to the Premier League, then brilliant for Ben. What has got to happen is that this football club has got to make sure that we get the best deal we possibly can for the football club, and that we know where the next centre half is. Because that's moving. That's the way it works. It's moving sands all the time in professional football. Good players move on, and they move on to bigger clubs. We'd love to say that it's not going to happen. We'd love to say that we're in a position where we can keep the richer clubs or the Premier League clubs, away from our players. But if they get the chance and the opportunity, everybody in their profession, everybody in their right mind, wants to play at the top level. And if Ben gets that opportunity, and I'm not sure where the negotiations are at the moment, then he seriously has to think about it. And I'm talking about Ben as a person. I'm not talking about Middlesbrough as a football club. I'm talking about Ben. What we've got to do is respect that, but make sure that we are clever enough, organised enough, and well set that we can go out and invest the money in players who can come here and do a similar job or even better.
Are you aware at this point whether an offer from Burnley has been rejected?
No, because Neil will deal with that. I know I've spoken. Sean rung me up. Sean Dyche has rung me up. He's been very, very honest with the approach and everything else. So it's up to the clubs and it's up to the player. I've got to make this point now that players will know through agents, from other clubs, through other agents, players know what's going on and what's not going on. It's not a case of them just being shot on at the last minute. Ben will have time to think about it. He's under contract. He could turn around and say, no, I want to stay at Middlesbrough, which would be absolutely fantastic. But as I've said, there's other conditions and other reasons and realities that maybe Ben would want to play Premier League football.
And on players possibly leaving, is Britta Sombalonga one of those you'd expect to leave?
Well, I've been open and honest with the Burnley situation. I don't know, and I've not heard from anybody at this football club that anybody is coming for Britt.
Possibly one coming in, Jordan Hugo. Is that something you're interested in? Is there a bit on the table?
We'll spin it round now. I've spoke about the player at this football club because he's our player. Hugo is West Ham's player. And I think it's disrespectful for me to stand here and talk about another club's player. So all the ones that we're trying desperately hard to bring into this football club, that will be done between the two clubs out of respect for the other clubs.
And just finally from me, where are we with Adama Traore? Any movement on the contract situation? Well,
Adama's got a clause in his contract. Everybody knows, I think, what that clause is. And if someone meets the money, then we have no option but for the lad to go. And it's another situation of Premier League football. I've spoken to Adama at the back end of last season, all the way through pre-season and up to even yesterday. And, the lad knows my feelings, he knows the club's feelings. The club made him a wonderful offer to stay. But it's that opportunity and that chance of playing at the highest level. That's what the boys have got to consider. And it's their life, it's their careers. And we've got to respect that.
Thank you.
Tony, how is Adama? Because he has a bad shoulder. He got dislocated his shoulder, did he?
Yeah, you go out on the training ground. He's running around today. Yeah, it's been brilliant. They popped it back in when he went to hospital. There was no need of any surgery or anything like that. I think he strained a couple of the main ligaments around the joint, but apart from that, he's fine.
So weeks ago, transfer-wise, are you happy with what you've done so far?
No. I want to do a lot more. The club wants to do a lot more. We need to do a lot more, and especially if we lose a couple more players next week. So we're behind. We're well behind. We've got injuries to key players as well. So we'll be going into the game or going into this week well behind where we wanted to be. But we know we're behind. We have to accept we're behind, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this time next week we'll be in a better situation.
And obviously, with Patrick Bamford going as well, presumably a striker is somebody you'd be looking to bring in?
We're looking right across the front line. I think if Adama goes as well, we're looking to strengthen that right across the front line. We want to add one more at the back and a couple more in midfield if we possibly can as well. So there'll be quite a bit of movement if we get the opportunity and chance to do the business that we want to do.
Are you slightly concerned that with such a small amount of time left that it's going to be difficult to do the business that you want to do?
Yeah, I'm always concerned. You want to do it straight away. You want to get your, the ideal situation is that before pre-season starts, you get your team together and you work through pre-season. But it never works out that way. We're waiting for the big boys to start eating, and then all the scraps that drop off the table, hopefully we're there ready to pick them up.
I think it's going to be a very frenetic last few days.
Well, I hope we get there before the last few days and I can watch everybody else being frenetic.
So bearing in mind what you've just said, you obviously feel that you need to strengthen the squad. How much does it need to be strengthened if you are to challenge for promotion?
Yeah, we need to. I've spoken to Steve continuously, and he's of the same opinion. We need, but what we've got to do, if you actually look at the enormous amount of money that was spent last year on the players, bringing the players into the football club, what we've got to do, we've got to be clever with the money we spend, and we've got to bring quality in. Players will make a difference.
Everyone talks about how important it is to make a good start, and of course it is, particularly psychologically. But if in the first few weeks you haven't quite made the start you want, there's still that mid-season period where you can have a surge and...
Well, Fulham, I think Fulham came to us at the, what was it, the 16th of December last year, and they were in the bottom 5. And then they went on that incredible run and have got promoted. So that's why the Championship is such a great league. You know, there's so many teams that could come from anywhere and put a run of results together. You know, it's non-stop. It's non-stop. So, you know, if we do get off to a bad start because we haven't got our team together, we'll accept that you know, that is the case. But it doesn't mean we're out of it.
As Richard was saying, Championship, you know, getting stronger every year, and two, your former sides are now in this division as well. Although you might not be able to say who's going to be in the top 6, you've got to expect that those teams who just come down are going to be a major threat.
Well, I'm not so sure about Swansea in respect of what they've recruited or anything. I haven't taken a lot of notice of that. Obviously, Stoke have spent a lot of money and they'll be very strong. And West Brom haven't sold any of their players. If they keep their group together, you know, I think they've got the best chance. They look really, really strong to me. You know, even we watched them the other day. You know, you've got people like Rondon and Dawson and people like that not even starting. So they will be those two clubs will be very, very strong. And, you know, and Swansea have been in the Premiership for, what was it, 12 years. You don't stay in the Premiership that long and not have quality Premier League players through the heart of the team. So I expect those three teams to do well, and they're the teams to beat, really.
So just a couple. Can I just ask you about the Patrick Bamford move? Was that a tough one for you and the club to sort of sanction?
I've just said before, you know, a lot of things have been said about Patrick and everything else. You know, Patrick had 2 years, 3 years of a contract left. If Patrick, you know, wanted to stay at this football club, that's all he had to say. Well, no, I don't want to go. You know, we weren't shoehorning him out of the club. It was there. You know, he's got a contract there. He signed a contract last year or 2 years ago, and he still had years left. So no one at this football club. You can't push people out no more. They're under contract. The players have got to want to go, and Patrick wanted to go, which is fine. You know, we've got a good deal. We feel Patrick wanted to leave. We want players who want to be at this football club, and we'll go from there. And
final one, really. Just if there was a match to sum up how difficult every game in the Championship is, probably Millwall away is a good example of that.
Yeah, it's a tough start. I think we recognise that the first week or so will be tough for us, or first couple of weeks will be tough. It's a tough start, and it's a tough start because we haven't got what we want yet in place, and that's always difficult. But I think I had a similar situation at Stoke 12, 13 years ago when we got promoted. We didn't get the players that I wanted in place and had an average start, and then got stronger as the season went on and managed to clinch promotion at the end. So, yeah, you know, it's a long season.